Hey guys, so I just wanted to show you this modular layout and typographic system that works perfectly with the 96 pixel grid system that works perfectly with the 96 pixel grid. A 96 pixel grid is ideal for modern digital formats because it works perfectly across many different resolutions. So if you don't know, developers work a lot on the 8 pixel system, which then just kind of scales by 2x every time. So yeah, it allows you to increase your values by the power of 2, which then ensures that everything works seamlessly and just adapts and responds perfectly. So at its core, what we're working with is this grid. This is our 96 pixel modular grid with 4 subdivisions, width of 24, which then allows us to perfectly fit all of our content in nicely. So if we grab our calculator, 24 divided by 3 is 8. So this perfectly slots into our 8 pixel grid system. So our smallest module fits into that 8 grid system, which is perfect. So I guess we can call it a 24 pixel grid. Helps us define our modular grid, which I've designed here. So we have 12 columns by 6 rows, and it's not actually equidistant because we have some space here for page furniture if we needed it, like so. So we could have our kind of footers along here, and then our top content and just sit in here. So yeah, this then allows us to create a baseline grid. So if I just hide, I can then add in baseline grids, and then if I just hide that as well, we can see our baselines along here, which is defined by our actual normal grid. This baseline then allows us to create our point sizes. So working from our smallest to our second. So this would kind of be our body. This might be our kind of subheader, and then this will be our header. So let's go into a new document, and we're going to make a screen or canvas of 4K. So that's 3840 by 2160. If we divide that by 2, we get our 1920 by 1080 format. But because we're in 2025, we're going for 4K. We're moving forwards in society. We're going for higher resolution content now. HD is out the window. UHD is the new standard. It's not, I just made that up, but you know, the higher the resolution, the better. So first things first, we're just going to work out how you get to 96 pixels. So if we do 3840 and then we just divide that into 4 equal modules, we get a width of 960. We can then do 10 subdivisions and get 96 pixels, which is perfect. And then yeah, if you divide that by 6, you get 16, which is nice. And then you can even divide that by 2, get your 8 pixel grid, which is our core. This is great for UI, Instagram, all your different formats, YouTube, everything is kind of based off of this 8 pixel grid. So let's go and define our grid. So we're going to go into our preferences, we're going to go grids, and we're going to go 96 pixels by 96 pixels, and then we're going to do 4 subdivisions like so. We're going to leave that for now, and we can see our grid nicely. So next we're going to go into margins and columns, and then we're going to do 96, and then we're just going to make 12 columns, and you can see that. So you can see these don't actually slot in nicely, and there's a way of working around this. So if we just start increasing this, it's still, you know, not going to be great, but you know, thinking about it, 96 divided by 2 is 48. So this doesn't work right now. So you can kind of play with it. So you can start increasing it, see if that locks in nicely. It doesn't. Could decrease this so it locks into that grid. So yeah, 24 times 3 is 72, and this seems to lock in nicely into that grid. So we're going to go for that. Then we're going to go into guides, and we're just going to make that something like, yeah, let's just keep that as cyan. We're going to create guides. We're going to make 6 rows, and we're going to have a gutter of 48. So you can see that this isn't locking in nicely. So yeah, that's kind of an issue at the moment. So if we just keep that. So a cool way of thinking about this is the actual ratio between these two things. So we have 16 and we have 8. So we have a height of 16 pixels, and then we have a height of 8 pixels. So 8 is obviously half of 16. So we need to double up width. We kind of need to take off a little bit of each, but I'm just going to do it on the bottom. So I'm going to go into my margins, and then I'm just going to 2 modules. So that would be plus 48 on the bottom. That would take us to 120, and then we're just going to put this back to 72, 72, and 72. Okay, so we got our nice grid. And then if we then make ruler guides, we then make our guides, we can go 6 and we can make that 48 now, and that should lock in nicely. Cool. Okay, so this is our core system, and yeah, this then allows us to create a baseline grid. So we're going to go into our grid. So we're going to start at 0. We're going to make this black, and we're going to increment every 48 points. Actually, no, we're going to do 24 points, like so. We're going to have a view threshold of 5, and then if we hide our main grid, we can bring in our baseline grids, and you can see because it locks into that 24 pixel grid, it's all nice and cool. So we can then make a text module. We're going to go into object, we're going to go text frame options, baseline options. We're going to align this to our cap height, and then we're just going to add in a typeface. So I'm going to add Noi Has Grotesque, like so, and I'm just going to type in AAA. So the quickest way of doing this is literally just scaling everything up. So do that, shift command, pull this down, we can then align. So this now perfectly locks into our first baseline and kind of grid module, and then we need to think about leading. So if we just increase this like that, so we know that this is 24 and that this is, yeah, it's 24. So if we just do 24, we can see that that then perfectly slots in. So we just do that, that's perfect. If we then just drop in some copy, so just gonna drop this in like so, pull this out and pull this down. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So it's kind of roughly a nice line length. You want it to be about 10 to 12 words per line, so it reads nicely. And yeah, that's essentially that. So this is our kind of body copy. So all you'd be doing now is just kind of timesing this by 2 and then timesing that by 2, and then everything should just slot in nicely. But you can see that it's slightly off there, so we're just going to go back and just make sure that that fits perfectly into there. So remember, we're not too worried about having some crazy number here, because it's going to lock perfectly into that grid. It's going to be pixel perfect. So that's not necessarily a huge concern. The leading is more of a concern to make sure that things line up perfectly. So as you can see, that leading is really, really deep. So proportionally, we can bring this in to 72, which is a lot nicer. And then we can just kind of drop that in. So if we just drop this in here, get that, make this all the same, 72, and then we can delete this like so. Okay, so that's that. Let's move these along there, and then let's move that along there. That seems quite tight actually. Let's increase that by another grid module, so that would be adding 24. Yeah, that seems better. Let's make this a lighter weight as well. Yeah, I think that works better at this kind of scale. So let's bring this down 1 module, and then we can pull this in like so. Let's scale that in, and then we're just going to times this by 2 as well. So making it 2 modules, we're now going to make it 4. So just scaling that up like that. Cool. We can just make it something like a treehouse. This is kind of deep still, so let's pull this in so that not the second line, but the third line now aligns. So this one doesn't properly align, but the second one aligns. And yeah, you can see they still align further down, but this is one of the compromises you have to make in typography. But the good thing about using a nicely proportioned typeface is that your actual like descenders still kind of align to the second line. So that's something to consider as well. This isn't really working for us, so let's just increase this. Let's make it 120. What's that like? Let's pull these closer so we can see them together. No, I think this needs to be another 48. Okay, let's take away 24. Yeah, that feels right. Okay, so that's basically your system. It's not perfect. There's things you could improve, but roughly speaking, this is a good typographic system. It's pretty versatile. Content should align nicely. So if we make that black, make that like 10%. Content aligns nicely like so. So you can kind of play with stuff and things should just align properly like so. So content should just slot into things nicely, and you don't need to worry about stuff not aligning nicely. You can see that this second line aligned to the top of the baseline. So, this could be much longer and you don't need to worry about anything misaligning. So yeah, that's essentially the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. A little bit different, but yeah, looking forward to seeing what you guys think. See you in the next one.